Okay na, wala nang hangin. Lipat yung electric fan.
Meron pa din, okay lang.
Ayan, okay na. Wala na.
Wala na.
Para sa'yo lang.
Para sa'yo, ang laban na to. Ang tagal naman ng loading niya.
Hindi pa rin mahanap yung GPI kung ano. Palit-palit ako naman.
Can someone buy me, please?
Ang inang kapal ng mukha, nagpapabili agad.
Matik.
Joke lang, Rain. Rain, joke lang yan.
Hindi, walang joke.
Hello?
Ako pala.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello. 4 comms only.
4 comms, hello. Coming here. Smoke please.
Ako na lang. Wait lang. Tak ng putaw.
Report AFK.
Ano rin yung potential ko?
Minus 52. May minus 52 yung ano sa... Oh, gago ka.
Iluhon ako.
52 yan eh.
One enemy remaining.
Defuse.
Diyan AFK. Nagbato ng bomba yan.
Sa atin yun eh.
Di, binato na ako ng bomba niyan pag pupunta ko sa site.
Last player standing.
Diba?
Nice try. NT.
Stupid!
NT. Hindi pa talo.
Ba't hindi niya abot?
Hindi malabo.
Abot yun.
Hindi pa nga tapos yung laban, nag-nice try na ako eh.
Wrong game mo mukha mo, tanga.
Nice try bro.
Ang bait, toxic. Ikaw ba yan?
Nag-nice try nga ako, hindi pa tapos yung laban, alam kong talo na eh. Hindi ba toxic yun?
Ano yun? Passive player.
Pang retake yung ano mo ya, pang retake lang yung smoke mo.
Oo nga, retake na nga lang. Hey bro, don't peek. Go B bro.
Reloading.
Anong arangan? In the smoke.
Wag.
Naglalag ako.
Bomb drop.
There.
Heaven.
Standing.
Nice nice mic
One
bro.
enemy remaining.
Nice mic.
Coming hit the soba. So it's low.
It's low. Ano yan it parang bading lang ah.
30 seconds left.
Kapal naman ng mukha niya, naka-ano.
Bobo naman na ito.
Play for
Kinakabahan.
time lang, play for time.
Kinakabahan eh.
Kung ako yan, hindi kita gaganyan.
Kita mong kinakabahan eh.
Want may recon skin.
Wag na. Baka mag-recon na ako eh.
Wordplay. Nagpapainit pa lang PC ko.
daw, yeah. Ito na ako dyan. Wala naman. Hindi smoke na.
Mid. Okay. K-dot.
Dizzy's up top. Dizzy has target.
Marami ah.
Saw you, Mosh.
Bato ko ng ano yun.
Baka mag-beat ah. Going B.
I'm out.
Gago, pinapasok niya.
Go B.
Spike down B. 30 seconds left.
Putong ina mo, nag-roll ng butot.
One enemy remaining. Last
Nandyan,
player
close.
standing. 10 seconds left.
Gago ka.
Bobo mo.
Close left yun eh. Nagtanim eh, dumaan sa harap mo yan.
Stinger kaya ako. Wala lang. Warm up game. It's dropping.
It is dropping. Dito. Here.
Dizzy's up. Sana.
Running away.
They're not ready.
Going A.
One over.
Mamatay.
Bird.
Mamatay agad tong mga to. Wala pa nga eh.
One over. Bird.
Gotcha.
I know.
One enemy remaining.
Nice.
Wingman's on to fuse. There's my buddy. Now we're talking. Don't jinx it though. Stay humble.
Here.
Jet.
Free A again, nice. Patay na naman yung nasa A ang puta, ang bobobo.
Spike planted.
Dizzy's up top.
Ayaw magsipik eh, mga bobo.
Placing sentry.
Buti na lang ganun may interaction na ganun kay Weakman.
Paano ganun interaction?
Placing swarm grenade.
Kunwari, inutusan mo na siya mag-defuse, tapos nag-defuse, tapos binitawang ko, tuloy niya yung half.
Don't pick me.
Loko.
Pasok lagi sila sa iyo.
Spike
Up and
planted.
away. Somebody's there.
Defuse the spike. Placing sentry.
Close, close, close!
One enemy remaining.
There's no grenade.
You can tank that what?
Go, go, go.
Last player standing.
Imagine if I die.
Ang tatangan ng mga to.
So, you mix it up, double down, let's talk.
Spike out.
Pa-half na eh, di bobo eh. Binitawan.
Swarm grenade.
Ay naka. Free lagi ang dyan na lang ako.
Get out of my way.
Ano, sinisilip pa rin yung win.
Up you go. Somebody's there.
Spike down B.
Taas na rin. Inong yan, naka-oo din si Tanga.
Don't pick, don't pick. Let them go in. Dito yung bomba, di ba? Wala.
Spike planted. Last player
Ang
standing.
bobo naman na ito.
One enemy remaining.
Anong ano?
Swerte tayo.
Ang bobo naman nun.
Wala niya umiikot.
Saan nakatingin yun? Tsaka hindi niya kailangan mag-push eh.
May
Kaya-
ulti ba siya?
Kailangan, oo, may ulti siya.
Baka doon niya gusto mag-play ng pang-ulti.
Ayun yung unang dadaanan ng ano yun, ng defender eh.
Might as well. Can I get this?
Baka ang com sa kanya, ano? Baka going mid. Kasi ang naisip niya, sa mid dadaan kasi doon napatay speed, di ba? Hindi na kaya
Ang ano pa din, gagi, dapat hindi siya nag-push.
Placing swarm grenade.
Dapat hindi siya talaga mag-push doon.
Dizzy's up. Dizzy has targets.
fake na naman yun.
Nahulog gago.
Nandito na pala market. Market na nandiyan. Market.
Run, little man.
na pala.
Last player standing. Spike planted.
Ang baba ng tutok niya, gago sa paa yan. Sa paa lagi yung tutok eh. Idinadrag pa niya pababa.
I'm gonna save.
Reloading.
Save ba?
Hey.
Di mo sure.
You should run.
Okay, 5 dead.
Last player standing.
Gago! Gago kayong wall mo na nakakasira ng ano.
Bigla.
Spike planted.
Nagalaw.
Nakakasira ng ano. Dapat patay na yung jet eh.
Hindi ko nagalaw na ano, namatay ako agad. Na okay na.
Good.
Dead.
Wait lang, paano?
Isa man behind. Ish.
Hindi, ganito na lang. Tayo na lang siya mag-set up.
Sabihin mo.
Which grips are they going to use? Your hearts are pounding.
Ah, diba? Alam niya na rin yun eh. Kasi kaya natin tong hold tong ano. Kahit dalawa lang.
Ayaw nga pumasok eh. Natatakot eh.
Diba? Yun naman, nag-FPS drop ako.
Dapat dito ka na lang.
Sa susunod, di na mauulit.
Going B, going B.
Spike down B.
Ayun.
Up and away.
Last player standing.
Kaya. Na-stuck na ako sa to ah.
Paano pa ako? Stuck sa 1 kanina pa.
Ayos. Palit crosser.
Yogi tayo sa attacking ata dito.
Hindi pa nga nakikita yung Reyna gumamit ng block.
Hindi pa. Ang galit nga yan, ang hilig mag-pick eh. Tignan natin kung mag-entry yan mamaya.
I got you.
Nakasya. Kulit ni James.
Last player standing.
Dizzy's up.
Hilig mag-pick ni James.
Spike planted.
Meron dyan kill ko yun. Hinira na. Baril lang.
Gago, nakita ako, puta. Nakita ako, tarantado.
Last round in the half.
Nang yan, wala pang pera.
Bakit pala nag-save ako? Tago ko. Bala ko mag-save kanina eh.
Sumisingit na kalaban.
Ang hilig mag-pick eh, ang tanga eh. Are you going to pick again and die? Pick, pick, pick.
Someone's there.
Last player standing. Spike planted. Switching sides.
Lugit na tayo dito.
That's true. Good advice.
There.
Teenagers na.
We survived.
Ganito lang tayo.
Up the way. Back to me.
Reloading.
They're not ready.
Pasok na.
They're not ready. This is up. Someone's there.
Ano yan? Binabudget na ako para
Last player standing.
Vegas. Mira ano.
Taas gag. Patay sa ano eh. Kung ano eh, mababa eh.
So many questions.
Di, ano to, warm up to. Hanggang mamaya to. Saka tayo magkakaroon.
Heaven, heaven.
Gago na ka ano, rambugan.
Epas lang.
And you're done.
Epas lang sa
One enemy remaining.
kasa.
Walls up.
Gago, dito na lang ako.
Sayang, hindi na nag-save yung tumakbo.
Ganun
They
din eh.
mess with one of us, they mess with all of us.
Nice mic bro.
Oh, what the? brother.
Yes!
Time for a field test.
Dizzy's up top.
Mid-ray.
You did good. You're not ready.
Bend!
Spike down mid. Last player standing.
Nawala yung crosser ko.
You're done.
Nawala yung crosser ko daw.
Huwag siya nag-dismiss ang kabubuhan niya.
Ba, parang tutok nito.
Ang kulit nga niyan eh. Laging ganun.
Bagay, mas marami siya matatama sa paa nakatutok.
Mas mahirap nga tamaan yung paa eh. Kaya sa ulo. Malikot yung paa eh.
Hindi, yung recoil kasi ng bala papunta sa ulo na.
Putik na yan. Hintay mo pa mag-recoil. Patay ka na bago pa mag-recoil eh.
That's as far as she goes. Spike carrier's down.
Spike down B. Last player standing.
Ubus na naman gago.
Dizzy's up. I got the spike.
Bye.
Sit down.
Meron dyan na. Kaliwa.
One enemy remaining.
Ito phantom.
Wala ka gago. Ang bilis. Ang bilis na bidad. Para papa, ang bilis na bidad. Para papa.
Kala daw si Kiro.
GG na ata ako eh, maglulol na ako.
Awit. Kasama mo.
Wala. Hindi wala.
Ang alam yung nakakontakon ko.
Oo ata.
There's my buddy.
Gago nandun sa smoke mo.
Spike down A.
Para papa, bilis na bidad pa para papa.
Ano na alam?
Gagi nag-ano lang, dire-diretso lang, hindi niya alam. Dire-diretso lang. Bumati.
Nescafe Plan introduced 1,500 Filipino farmers to
Time for another episode of Curbside Consult, where I run the streets of New York City answering your medical questions. Huge thanks to NRC Health for sponsoring this video. Now, who has some medical questions? The general medical questions, what do you got for me?
I broke my arm.
I just said no individual questions.
This was sort of the test.
Oh gosh, there's just so much I could ask. You gotta give me a second.
Oh, take your time. Excuse me, sir, do you have a medical question? Come out of the bike lane, don't get hurt. What made you want to take a scooter today?
The reason is to be very fast.
My one piece of advice would be to wear a helmet. Cars here are crazy.
Yes, of course. But we are not so fast.
My second worst fear, besides apples, of course, is healing gemstones. Healing gemstones apparently fix everything that's wrong with you, so you gotta be careful. Apparently, we came on a healthy day to Union Square. There's healthy vegetables. I love it.
How do doctors deal with patients with sickle cell? Mind you, I have sickle cell.
Okay, that's a good question. When we have a patient who has a history of sickle cell crises, have you had that?
Yes.
Okay, sickle cell crises, we want to prevent that as much as possible by getting people comfortable and decreasing their risk by making sure they're taking appropriate medications, to make sure that they have a crisis plan in place, but also to make sure that they have a primary care doctor. So do you have a primary care doctor?
Yes.
Okay, do you have a good relationship?
Yes.
If you had to change one thing about our healthcare system and heal the healthcare system, what would you change?
Probably more doctors that actually would support a dream that a patient would have despite their disabilities.
Amazing. The only way a doctor can do that is if they first understand you as a human as opposed to just a patient or a number, right?
Yes.
What gets lost in our healthcare system is the doctor-patient relationship. Folks just don't feel seen or heard. This is why my mission aligns so well with NRC Health. They help doctors and healthcare systems better understand their patients as individuals and help patients feel seen and heard. They're just improving the overall patient experience.
Is it true that you can outgrow allergies and asthma?
Yes.
I didn't.
I can actually give you a very specific example of how people outgrow allergies. You've heard of the antibiotic called penicillin?
Yes.
Okay, penicillin allergy is quite common, and a lot of my patients come in and say that they have a penicillin allergy. But most of the time, they're referencing what happened to them in their youth. And 90% of people who state that they have a penicillin allergy have either grown out of it or never had one to begin with.
What?
All right, we're gonna answer some of your questions. First question, what does the uvula do? That thing that dangles at the back of your throat, as someone wise once said. It actually, we don't even have a great answer to what the uvula does. For now, we think it has something to do with secretion of saliva to aid in eating and drinking. It also blocks food and liquids from going up into your nose, so it acts as a mechanical barrier. So thank you, uvula. Is there anything you've seen from like TikTok or heard from your friends that people are like, here's health advice, and you're like, is that true?
I get my TikToks from you, and so you're currently busting them as I hear them.
Okay, hold on a second. We got a Knicks fan. What's up?
I'm not a Knicks fan.
How you gonna wear a Knicks jersey?
When your ankle's sprained, what's the muscle that's usually mostly sprained?
Usually when you sprain an ankle, it's not a muscle, but it's a ligament, and it's called the anterotalofibular ligament. And you know what the shorthand version of it is? ATF, anterior talofibular. And you know what ATF also stands for?
What?
Always torn first. What's the most commonly sprained ankle ligament?
ATF?
Or?
Don't remember the name.
Why does helium make your voice sound funny? I've always wondered that before I became a doctor, and the answer is because helium is lower density than oxygen. So think about it, we put helium in balloons, so they're lower density, they float, but when you inhale and then exhale the helium, you're having lower density, so therefore sound travels faster than them, resulting in a high-pitched squeaky voice. Okay. I knew New Yorkers were excited about healthcare questions, but even the building has a question. And the answer is mostly water.
What is something that you can tell those who have ADHD to just simply help regulate some of the fuzziness we feel in our brains?
Stay very, very far away from TikTok. There's actually been legitimate medical research done that shows the advice that's given online, specifically surrounding ADHD, that was what the paper was on, that most of it is inaccurate.
Wow. I've been seeing a lot of on the TikTok shop mushrooms.
See, that's what I try and stand against, because I think how you go about treating ADHD is going to be an individualized plan. You're going to need to meet with your doctor, maybe even your psychiatrist. That's how you make the diagnosis. That's how you decide what works for you as an individual, and it's not going to be what TikTok is selling.
Perfect. Thank you, doctor.
Any tips on how to maintain your poofiness? Why does squinting help you see better? Well, the answer comes from your pupil. When you squint, you decrease the amount of rays that are going through the top and bottom of the pupil. Therefore, they're going through the center, hitting the lens more readily, so you get a sharper image. See what I'm saying? One question I have for you. Do you think your doctor spends enough time with you?
No, I don't think so.
How much time face-to-face do you actually get with a doctor on average?
Probably 8 minutes.
That's terrible, no?
Not that much, yeah.
I went to one place where they just took one look at me and were like, no, we deal with strep throat and stubbed toes.
Look, clearly people want doctors to treat them as humans. That makes sense. But you can't do that in 10 minutes without some kind of preparation. That's why I love that NRC Health thinks before the visit, during the visit, after the visit, about improving the patient experience. It's about humanizing it. We're not aggregates or averages. We're humans that want good health care. We truly just want a doctor to sit down and listen to us. Why does leather make us sweaty? Well, when you sit on leather, A, you're not getting good circulation because there's pressure on there, but also leather tends to reflect the temperature of the surroundings. So if your skin's warm, the leather's gonna get warm and not allow you to cool down. Also, leather is incredibly dense, so you're not getting good air circulation, therefore not allowing your skin to cool. Now you have it. Answering medical questions on the street, I'm a real doctor.
Oh, wow. I'm a real nurse.
Oh, okay, so you don't have any medical questions?
I mean, I have tons of medical questions.
Really? Okay, so come on, ask.
I can't think of one on the spot.
Welcome to my fake office here in the midst of the bike store. Sorry, please.
Okay, so is eating vegan actually good for you?
You can eat a healthy vegan diet and it would be totally appropriate for all stages of life. If you consume animal products, that does not make it unhealthy. But those animal products should be monitored, meaning that if you're eating high amounts of processed foods like the cold cuts, the hot dogs, those are not the healthiest foods to eat. There are some individuals that maybe a vegan diet could be good for, like if you have high amounts of plaque in your arteries. When you consume animal products, you get high amounts of saturated fat in your diet. That can make the problem worse. But if a patient walks in and says, should I be vegan? Is that the only healthy diet? The answer is no. Okay, we got another question. If I consume wine, will I live longer? Unfortunately, this is not how it works. There's this whole thing about a French paradox. Back in the day, there was a study that people who live in France live longer, and it was assumed based on their lifestyle that the fact that they drink wine was what extended their life. But we've tested this time and time again, and that just happens to not be true. All right, come on in. I don't fight, I promise.
See you through a screen.
Well, now I just jumped out of the screen.
I'm vegetarian.
Okay.
Supplement recommendations?
I never make individual recommendations on the street, but for my patients that are vegetarian or vegan, I want to make sure that they're supplementing with their B vitamins, specifically B12, because that's something that's not found outside of animal products. Second is protein. It's very easy to not consume adequate amounts of protein, therefore not support healthy muscle growth. And if you don't have healthy muscle growth, that actually decreases how many calories you use per day, which makes it harder to lose weight or to be strong. So that's what I try and recommend to them. Is it true that we have a doctor here? Oh my God, what kind of doctor?
You're a physician.
Oh my God, so we're only gonna get 10 seconds to spend with me.
I can give you more. I'm willing.
What do you hear from people in terms of, on average, how much time they get to spend with a doctor face to face?
Oh, it's very little. I mean, I have to go from examples. My parents, they had this fantastic primary care physician that they loved. He spent all the time in the world with them. I actually used to go to see him. He would spend 30, 45 minutes in a visit with you, but unfortunately now he does concierge medicine because that's the only way that he's going to get the money back for the time that he spends. So now they have to go see another doctor who kind of just does labs, just basically, hi, how are you doing? Here, let me check all the labs that need to be done, and that's how I'm going to base all my thought process, not really an interaction and a talk with you sort of thing. So yeah, that's
Terrible. I'm sorry they're going through that, but that's exactly what we're trying to fix with today's video. What the doctor said is exactly right. You can't make a proper assessment plan when you're seeing a patient for such a short amount of time. You can't just look at numbers. You have to look at the person. You have to know who that person is. That's why I'm so proud to be working with NRC Health, because they really focus on not just what happens after the visit, but before the visit to make sure you're getting the most of that limited time.
So I've been told, I've heard, and I've done this before, taking charcoal pills helps with alcohol digestion. Is this true?
The way that I think about it is you can't cheat a hangover. Because when we think of hangovers, a lot of people think it's just the alcohol that's playing the role. And while it is alcohol, it's irritating your stomach, your gastric mucosa, basically the lining of the stomach gets irritated when we drink alcohol, but it really affects the whole body. Because what else happens when you're over drinking alcohol? You're not sleeping well, so your circadian rhythm is fully thrown off. You're not hydrating well usually because alcohol acts as a diuretic, so you're urinating a lot and not hydrating. You're usually consuming unhealthy food choices that you normally don't consume. So because you're making all these bad choices at once, that's what's contributing to the hangover, not just the alcohol. That's why I think promising people that if you just take this pill, it's gonna help it doesn't exist. There is no hangover pill. Charcoal is not gonna be the miracle solution. The miracle solution is learning the self-discipline of when to say no or when to stop. Here are some bizarre facts from every medical specialty. Huge thanks to NRC Health for sponsoring this video. Let's heal the system and humanize healthcare together. As always, stay happy and healthy. We've taken a look at prior broken Guinness World Records, but there are some new ones that I've never heard before on this list. Let's take a look. Is he drinking the beer or just chewing the cans? I feel like we should have a dentist respond to this.
Hold up, this is wrong. Don't do this.
This is a combination of jaw strength, and the jaw is a really powerful muscle, the masseter muscle right here. But then also the hand ripping it away. He's tearing metal.
The record.
These are aluminum cans.
Era di 30 lattine. And your attempt today? E il tuo tentativo di oggi? You got a total of 36.
Whoa, he broke it by 20%. The biggest thing that scares me risk-wise here is obviously damaging teeth, but then also cutting yourself, because there's really sharp edges of the metal there. Doing it in a slightly wrong angle, having it split out and slice your cheek open, that could be quite dangerous. Save your teeth for chewing. Save your teeth for smiling. Don't use it to rip apart cans. There's better uses. Most but Jolokai chili peppers eaten 1 minute. Are those really spicy? When you wear gloves to eat a spicy meal, you know it's serious. It's the ghost pepper. It's one of the hottest chili peppers in the world. Wow. I had a little bit of that sauce with Mama Dr. Jones, and I almost passed away. It's so bad.
I don't know what to do with myself. I'm just like...
Remember, the reason why these peppers have such a big reaction in our bodies is because of capsaicin, which binds to the very same receptors that create and feel pain, inflammation, burning. So it's triggering your body to have the same response as if those areas were truly damaged and on fire. But when it's so intense and so extreme, what ends up happening is your body creates an inflammatory response where you can have actual damage and things happen as a result. Oh my God. 3.98 ounces. He's drinking Pepto-Bismol. Pepto-Bismol's main ingredient is like an aspirin component, salicylic. So I don't know if that's a good idea. I mean, I guess it's anti-inflammatory, but it's just like from a bleeding perspective, it prevents your platelets from working properly. So I'd be concerned about that aspect.
The fastest time to eat 500 grams of mozzarella.
I mean, at some point, we gotta admit people are reaching. Like, they're really, really just trying to make it interesting. Oh my God, this sound. This is the worst ASMR. This is the opposite of a good ASMR video. I'm legit getting nauseous. God, I'm so nauseous. It's so bad. You think I'm joking, but I'm not.
Time you achieved was 1 minute, 2 seconds, 0.3.
Is that faster? What was the previous record? Can I try beating this right now? I have 500 grams of mozzarella in the fridge. Yeah, if you want me to try that record, I will try it. I think I can try it. I don't think that there's much medical risk there. What are we looking at? The greatest distance that a lip can travel above the nose? Longest duration gurning with the lower lip covering the nostrils. So basically he held his breath for 1 minute while using the lower lip to cover the nostrils. I mean, 1 minute is a decent time to hold your breath. There's definitely some kind of hypermobility, perhaps a unique anatomical configuration of his face, either from an underbite or just a laxity situation where there's looseness in the joints. We always talk about on this channel, Ehlers-Danlos is one of those conditions that doctors do a shitty job at diagnosing because a lot of times patients come in with non-specific symptoms or they come in for a lot of injuries. Doctors kind of get fed up and they just say, oh, ibuprofen, whatever. But they don't actually take the time to diagnose them because there's all sorts of risks that can happen with the different types of EDS.
My name is Tanya Herbert, and I hold the record for the largest feet on a living female.
I love that they specify living. I guess someone in the past had bigger feet. I wonder what size.
Are 33 centimeters long.
Oh, I thought you were going to say size 33. 33 centimeters long is probably a size 19.
And I wear a size 16, 17 in men, and an 18 in female.
I was saying it in female.
I am 6'9", which surprisingly to me is only 3 inches shorter than the tallest woman in the world.
Wow. So there's definitely a growth hormone thing going on here, some pituitary situation, which is the gland inside the brain that is responsible for the control of the growth.
I would always wear tennis shoes or men's loafers, and they were not always the cutest thing when trying to dress cute in school.
Yeah, anytime when you're younger and you feel different than your classmates, that's got to be tough.
Hi, I'm Sam Ramsdell, and I now hold 2 Guinness World Records.
Whoa.
One for the largest mouth for a female,
Whoa.
and one for the widest mouth. Hey.
Wow, I can't believe that's the double record.
The approved widest mouth record.
She's at Subway. This has got to be an ad.
Her mouth is 4.07 inches wide, or 10.33 centimeters. The average woman's mouth is 1.74 inches wide, or 4.43 centimeters.
So it's not even a jaw thing, it's more of a cheek thing.
I always wore makeup over my lips so I wouldn't accentuate. Now I always wear gray lipstick because I do love it. But I just feel like it's finally like given me a little bit of my power back.
Yeah, she's made it part of her personality and she owns it. That's awesome.
Over the last 9 years, I estimate my total donation numbers to be over 350,000
Wow. I mean, that's ounces, but still, wow.
This condition on my worst enemy. It is not fun.
There's a certain type of tumor called a prolactinoma, which causes excessive secretion of prolactin hormone, which is a milk-producing hormone in the human body. We've actually seen patients that can develop a prolactinoma and start secreting milk. We've also seen patients be able to start secreting milk from actually stimulating their nipples, even if they're not pregnant. It's a very unique situation that responds to different stimuli.
Hyperlactation syndrome is technically a disability.
It is. It's very disruptive to one's life. This can be probably treated with a double mastectomy, removal of the breast, but that's obviously a surgery and carries its own risks. What I would say in a condition like this is that we need more research, because in the medical community, we've spent so much time focusing and researching what causes underproduction of milk for mothers that are nursing, not as much time researching what creates overproduction of milk.
We had to adapt just as anyone else would with any disability.
And for someone thinking like, oh, what's the big deal? It's uncomfortable. It's not that I would know, but I've seen it in my patients where their breasts become firm, they become painful, you have increasing rates of infection, there's blocked milk ducts that are very painful. There's all sorts of things that recur at much higher rates because you're constantly producing this milk.
There are medications available to combat the prolactin hormone. These medications do come with some pretty serious side effects.
Pretty sure it's bromocriptine. Let me just check. Bromocriptine treats hyperprolactinemia by decreasing the amount of prolactin in the body. This is not a medication I use often. I don't think I've ever prescribed it, actually. This would be something treated by perhaps an endocrinologist or maybe an OBGYN specialist in these hormonal disorders.
Another option that I have is potentially looking into a double mastectomy to remove all of the glandular tissue that is producing breast milk.
There's also effects that prolactin has on the body outside of just milk production. So it's important that we think about the patient's entire health and not just the breast tissue and say, oh, we removed the breast tissue, that's fine. We need to make sure that the other health factors that are controllable are kept within normal boundaries.
This is Randy Gardner, and this is the curious case of the man who volunteered to go without sleep for the longest time.
Whoa!
Randy Gardner recruited 2 friends to help keep him awake.
That's like a form of torture, sleep deprivation.
They attempted the record-breaking time to go sleepless as their submission for the 10th annual Greater San Diego Science Fair.
Wow, when I did the science fair, I did a little volcano with Mentos and Coca-Cola. These guys are doing sleep deprivation in their house. Jesus.
About the 4th or 5th day, it was like, are you kidding me? This is hard.
Oh, it was only by the 4th or 5th day that it was hard? What about the other days?
By the end of the experiment, Gardner was experiencing mood swings, memory loss, slurred speech, and hallucinations.
Whoa.
However, he finally surpassed the 260 hours of sleeplessness claimed in 1959 by Honolulu DJ Tom Rounds.
That's so incredibly dangerous. There's so many things that can go wrong, from hormonal issues to cardiac issues to your kidneys shutting down. The brain is just put under an immense amount of strain. We have these things called IRBs. They're called institutional review boards, where people of different professions sit on these boards and they vote on whether or not a study is ethical. And I can't find a way where that study would be ethical. It's just very, very extreme. Wow.
This is Roy C. Sullivan, who was struck by lightning 7 times.
What?
The first time he was struck in 1942, he was hiding from a thunderstorm in a lookout tower.
One of the most important things when you're in the middle of a thunder lightning storm is to go inside. You want to stay away from being outdoors. If you're within a big group of people, you want to separate. Mostly because if the lightning hits the ground, you don't want it to hit all of you at the same time. Then all of you could be incapacitated and not be able to help one another. And the first aid thing that you do is almost the same that you would do if you find someone who's pulseless. You call 911 right away, and then you start treating that person by checking to see if they have a pulse, if they're breathing, and if they don't, you start chest compressions while waiting for help.
Roy's next lightning encounter was in 1969. He was driving his truck in the mountain. Now usually this would be protection from a lightning strike, but he had the window open, and the lightning knocked him unconscious and burnt off his eyebrows and eyelashes.
Yeah, burns are pretty common. People who get hit by lightning do experience things like heart attacks and cardiac arrests. If not getting hit by lightning, there's like 10% chance of lethality, so it's a pretty dangerous incident. There's about 30 deaths per year on average in the United States from lightning strikes, and the odds of getting hit in a lifetime, saying you live 80 years, is actually not as low as one would think. It's 1 in like 15,000 chance of getting hit in your life. Per year, it's really low. It's like over the 1 in a million, but over 80 years, pretty interesting stuff. But this guy 7 times?
And then in 1972, he was struck for a 4th time, whilst in a ranger station, and his hair caught fire.
How is modern science not investigating this gentleman? His poor hair is standing the test of time. Wow, 9 children. What is that, non-tuplet?
Yeah, Muhammad, Ba, Umar.
Wait, they all survived? I'm so jealous I have a small family. To have a support system of 8 brothers and sisters is something I can only dream about.
Non-uplets are extremely rare, and until the arrival of the ZZZZ children, no cases have been recorded of 9 babies from a single birth.
Well, I think they have, I just don't think they've ever survived.
Il fallait quand même qu'on prenne en charge cette bonne dame avant que ça soit trop tard, pour qu'il n'y ait pas d'hémorragie en postpartum.
The reason mothers who are pregnant with multiple babies inside of them need C-section so often is because as you have an extra baby inside, it means you carry more weight within your uterus. And it is shown that the more weight your uterus has, the earlier you're going to deliver. And now once you start getting into the 3, 4, 5 babies, the weight is getting so significant that you may deliver too early or in an unpredictable way, or perhaps have birthing complications from lack of space. So C-sections are very common in this situation.
The babies were born at 30 weeks.
30 weeks isn't even incredibly early given the fact that there were so many of them. That's actually shocking.
And each of the 5 girls and 4 boys weighed between 1.1 and 2.2 pounds.
Yeah, just to put in perspective, when I was born, I was 7 pounds, and that's around the average of what a baby weighs when they're born.
What does it take to become the world's oldest bodybuilder? The incredible 90-year-old Jim Harrington.
90 years old. He looks amazing. And 38 days, can't forget that.
You know, I was born a month and a half premature, and I weighed 5.5 pounds, and my parents struggled to save me.
Have fun, Jim.
Okay, thanks.
He seems like such a nice guy on top of it.
This is an asthmatic and very unhealthy, sick all my life.
One of the interesting things about kids with exercise-induced bronchospasm or exercise-induced asthma is that frequently parents get worried that they have asthmatic attacks when they go out into the cold or they go out and they start exercising. So parents worry and keep them out of exercise. Whereas there are so many Olympic athletes that have exercise-induced bronchospasm, and it is controllable and treatable. In fact, we in the medical community don't tell people who have EOB to not exercise. We tell them to continue exercising just to know the warning signs, or potentially use an inhaler like albuterol as a pump before you exercise.
Right now, I'm training 3 times a week, 2 hours per session.
Wow.
Jim has a few tricks to his longevity.
The thing with exercising when you're of older age, your focus needs to change from performance to injury prevention. And that's because the biggest thing that ruins an exercise regimen of someone of that age is an injury, because it takes much longer to recover from it, and there's much more sequelae, which means other problems stemming from that initial injury.
But Jim's biggest secret is adaptability.
What works for a person at one time in their life isn't the same. And that's the whole thing about bodybuilding. It's adaptation.
Well, it's actually about preventing adaptation, or at least training around adaptation. So when your body adapts and hits a plateau, that's when it's potentially time to switch it up, because switching it up can cause hypertrophy, and that's what you want out of your muscles when you're bodybuilding.
Jim first achieved the record at the tender age of 83, and he is still competing.
Being a Guinness World Record holder, it was the inspiration for me.
It's awesome to see someone celebrate their longevity and celebrate their body in a way where they're constantly training it, constantly pushing themselves to get better, because learning really doesn't ever stop. That's the one thing people who get advanced degrees will tell you. The more education you get, the more questions you have, the more you want to get better. And we should treat our own human development much in the same way.
Pratik from India is the world's shortest competitive bodybuilder.
This is the bodybuilder segment. I love it.
2 centimeters, 3 foot 4 inches tall.
I wonder how his size impacts his ability to lift weights. Like, I could see he's having issues with his grip that can predispose him to all sorts of injuries, not just from dropping the weight, but from a biomechanical standpoint of keeping the weight secure while bringing it through a full range of motion.
He has recently broken another record for the most push-ups in 1 minute male. In our short stature category, for adults under 4 foot 10 inches, that's 147.32 centimeters.
Wow, 84 push-ups, that's a lot of push-ups. You can't even come close to that.
Go.
Oh! What are we bending? Is that metal? See, medically, I'm obviously slightly worried about the skull, because there's a lot of capillaries in the skull that can cause it to bleed. But I'm also worried about bone bruising and the hands. There's no protection for the hand. Oh. He has probably such strong lats. Like, it starts as a lat pull down and then turns into a chest flat. So you're using a lot of the latissimus dorsi, a lot of the pec major, and biceps, obviously.
Congratulations, Miss B, you're officially amazing again.
I wonder if you go to like the strongman competition, would they just destroy this record easily, or does this person have a unique skill?
My name is Kim, or better known as Kimmy Cola on TikTok, and I just broke the world record for women's loudest burp.
What makes a burp loud? Because a burp is really just eructation, which is the sound of air being expelled from your esophagus or your stomach. And actually what's unique is when you get an x-ray of a human, you'll see an air bubble in the stomach. because when you swallow food, you also swallow some air. In fact, if you start seeing air outside of the stomach, that's dangerous because that means the stomach potentially has some damage to it where air is escaping and entering the abdominal cavity. That could be a problem.
What I do to prepare for a big burp is I just take deep breath in and try to manipulate that into something monstrous and magical.
The interesting thing is when you take a deep breath in, you're taking a deep breath into your lung, not your esophagus. So it's like, that's not where the air is coming from. Maybe when she fills up her lungs, it actually puts like intra-abdominal pressure on her stomach and esophagus, leading to a better quality burp. Oh man. Wow. That's loud. Anything considered over 80 is considered loud. Not for burp, just in general.
Why don't you give us your best work here?
Oh my god, I wish this was soda.
Hey!
Look at that. Look at that.
Not bad, Doc.
Force some air into the esophageal sphincter. A lot of rare conditions in this video, but how about the rarest diseases that patients have? Click here to check these out, and as always, stay happy and healthy. Oh, it's like mattress dominoes at a dorm where people are really gonna get injured. Honestly, if I ran an urgent care, my eyes would be like, the child can't help. That is physics. Oh, no way, he got clipped. Oh my God, spring loaded and multiple hits. It was like getting jabbed by Manny Pacquiao or like Floyd Mayweather. Have you seen that video of Floyd Mayweather jabbing the boxing bag that snapped? Listen. Just a little bit of Morton's toe. Oh wow, that's a lot happening here. Morton's toe is a form of brachymetatarsia, and it's also different than Morton's neuroma, which also happens in the feet, but ironically they were named after two different Mortons. And it obviously predisposes you to all sorts of foot pain, more likely to develop calluses, but there's like numbers where like 30 to 40% of people have Morton's toe. And there's been all sorts of names for it, like Greek toe, Greek foot, Morton's foot. Me and bro realizing myocardial infarction is the same thing as a heart attack. You know the one thing I don't understand? When someone has a myocardial infarction, we say they have a heart attack. When someone has a stroke, which is a form of basically myocardial infarction just in the brain, we don't say brain attack. Can we start that? Can we start saying I had a brain attack? Vote down below and let us know. Brain attack, you in or you out? Yeah, honestly, my left shoulder, okay, it's not that I never rehab, it's that I don't rehab enough and I take breaks from the rehab. What folks don't understand is a lot of times when they have pain, it's happening as a result of deconditioning of major support muscles. This happens with low back pain, it happens with shoulder pain, neck pain. I can't tell you the amount of times that someone has low back pain that they think is a disc issue, when the reality is a weak butt issue, a weak gluteus maximus. I don't know why I like saying the Latin names of muscles, makes me feel smarter.
I know they're called hemorrhoids, but I feel like we missed an opportunity to call them asteroids.
Oh yeah, but that would sound like they're from outer space. Although Uranus is in outer space.
Oh, baby!
That's pretty good. Lucky he didn't cut his foot on that sharp rock. That would have been problematic. Rocking out some pretty good push-ups with good form there too. Impressive. When you're wearing hospital scrubs and you lean over too far, everything falls out of your pocket. That's why I wear my own scrubs and not the hospital scrubs. But that's because I'm not operating. Otherwise, everything just... Oh, hey, seal. Oh, is this seal about to fall? Oh, isn't a seal like 550 pounds? You're awake. How long have I been asleep for? 10 years. Wow. What time is it? 6 a.m. Honestly, waking up from a coma is pretty fatiguing. Imagine you have not been sending signals to your muscles to work, and now you need them to work. The neuromuscular connection isn't there. It takes time, rehab. So shout out my physical therapist, occupational therapist, the people that help folks get moving again. And speech pathologists, because they not only help you learn how to speak again, but also help with swallowing evaluations and getting people to eat safely. And he ate it. Honestly, I think because there's nothing behind that metal thing, it just made a really loud noise like a drum. I don't think there was serious damage. But wow, that would suck.
Hey Kyle, it smells like wrong dog in here. What's wrong dog? Everything.
Aww. I wish someone asked me what's wrong, dog. This is me live looking at you, and this is me live looking at the dog. Bear, you. Hard work and dedication. Okay, I'm gonna have a controversial opinion here. It is hard work and dedication to be lifting weights. I just don't know the consistency at which this person's doing it because based off their muscles, I have no idea. This is likely oil injections and this is terrible. Actually, the last person we've seen do these types of injections in order to enhance the size of their muscles ended up losing their life. It was like a huge New York Post article about it. When you drink 2,000 milligrams of caffeine because your heart is a muscle and you need to drink till failure. First of all, obviously no, because 2,000 milligrams of caffeine is 5 times the maximal dose, daily dose that we say. Number 2, skeletal muscle and cardiac muscle are not the same. In fact, if I grow my bicep, everyone's like dope, and I'm like cool, I'm healthy. But if my heart gets bigger and it hypertrophies, that can lead to cardiac muscle failure, cardiomyopathy. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. What people don't understand is the brachial artery is right there. If that gets severed, she dies in seconds. And now he's going after the femoral artery. Yo, this tiger knows what's up. He knows the weak points of the human body. 3, 2, 1, get it! Oh! Why are these getting more and more violent? Do people not care about their well-being? I mean, so much could have happened. Spinal injury. Do we know if that person's okay? Oh, thank God.
We got him, boys.
We should make me wear a heart rate monitor so you can see my pulse go up and know that was legit. Yeah. Oh. He told me to film him do this trick. There's not enough weight in the thing. I feel like it's gonna flip over. Oh no, it did it. Oh, that is. See, people don't realize that looks not so dangerous because like he didn't take a hard hit, but the fact that he twisted in that unique way, nerve compression can occur and you can develop a spinal contusion, and it could take weeks to heal from, and you can have all sorts of symptoms: weakness, nerve pain, numbness, tingling, sensation loss, all this unique stuff. Be careful.
If you're hungry, you can smell my apple. I can't. I'm like on Ozempic. Why, you have like diabetes or something? Not diabetes. Is this a joke?
The nails
Do
falling
you like
out.
not know what Ozempic is?
Oh my God, that was probably the best Kardashian impression I've seen in a while. I don't even watch the show. But yeah, the Ozempic mania is real. I've done several videos on it, including a long-form podcast. My concern for the Ozempic thing is I think about how the fast food industry and the hyper-processed food industry has made it so that we fail to lose weight through traditional diet and exercise. When doctors recommend it, it doesn't seem to work. So then we moved on to medication in order to help people lose weight. And then attention spans are going to dwindle because of TikTok and so forth. Are we going to start giving people Adderall? I don't know. I feel like we're going to be this hyper-medicated society. I wasn't prepared for it. That's all I'll say. Oh, my boy.
I didn't know until I was in my 30s. Hot spoons reduce the itchiness of mosquito bites.
I don't know if that necessarily works because bringing more circulation to an area where there's already edema and swelling, they can just burn yourself.
Dr. Mike, I'm sure you don't approve of this, so please.
Don't approve of this. Ow! Oh, is the hot spoon like really hot? Like he's burning himself? Like you just damage your skin? I think I would prefer to have a itchy mosquito bite than a burn. Because you know what most people don't realize? When you get like a cut, a scab, a burn, when it heals, it itches too. That's why people pick at scabs. They get itchy as they heal. In fact, that's a reassuring sign that your wound is healing.
So this is home sweet home for the next about 8 hours. So I brought all my essentials. Water, so I'll drink 2 of these every hour.
Drink 2 of these every hour. Sit in a first-class seat so you can extend your legs fully and walk unobstructed with no one else sitting near you.
This is an analemma. So what this will do is this will actually restructure water. So when I put it down,
oh my God,
stir it, it will restructure that water.
How did we survive millennia without the restructuring of water? I don't think people are aware of the words that they're using these days.
Bone smashing is a disturbing trend that has gained popularity among young people, especially teenagers, who resort to hammering down on their facial bones to achieve a chiseled and sharp look.
Is that a percussion?
This practice involves intentionally fracturing bones.
Oh, whoa, they're literally
to create
doing
a more
that?
aesthetically pleasing appearance, such as bigger cheekbones.
But isn't that what surgeons do? Like, that's what a plastic surgeon should do, not on yourself. You know in Black Mirror, when they show reactions of things happening on social media, you're like, that would never happen, they're just trying to dramatize. No, folks, it's happening.
Is it true that you have never knowingly eaten a vegetable in your life?
That is true.
He says it so powerfully. That is true.
And I guess what I've proven, Chris, is that man does not need vegetables to survive.
I mean, yes, but there's a lot of things that we don't need to survive unless you want to survive optimally. You are just one person, and what may have worked for you does not mean that that then becomes a rule that you've proven. Oh, is that a bee? It's one of those bumblebees. Bumblebees don't sting? Why did it go into his nostril? Oh my God. How did he capture that on video? That was too incredible. I would get some nasal saline as quickly as possible to rinse that area out.
Chemicals. Full of chemicals. Chemicals, exactly? All of just all of them? All of them. Toxins. Is it the same as chemicals where it's also just all of them? Detox. Is that not what the kidneys and the liver are for? No, just, supplements. Right.
Honestly, a course about wellness is literally just saying buzzwords that flag emotions in people's minds, and they've groove test this to see that it works, and it's very, very powerful.
Sorry, do we have to join an MLM?
The MLMs, man, the multi-level marketing schemes are so problematic. They encourage you to sell to the point where you don't even care if it's helping people. You just want to make the sale because that ultimately benefits you. When it comes to that and you're involved in that, you should really be taking a hard look at yourself and your values and see if you align with what you're doing. Dad built a 75-foot slip and slide and attempted to launch himself into an inflatable pool. Don't go on your roofs. Your roofs. It's not a good idea, especially as a father. Oh my God! Oh my. Oh my God! Oh my God! His poor vertebrae, his pelvis, his ischial tuberosities are struggling right now. Wow, that's a crazy stretch. This is some kind of hypermobility because going past 180 degrees here is problematic because of potential recurrent injury unless you work with a really good physical therapist, strength and stability, and et cetera, but you are going to be predisposed to higher rates of injury. You're a med student on rounds presenting the plan your resident gave you, and now they are disagreeing.
This is a betrayal on levels that no one's ever seen!
You know what happens all the time? When I get a patient that I spend an hour interviewing because I want them to knock it out of the park for my senior doctor that I'm working with. I'm literally asking them questions that don't even pertain to this illness because I want to have a thorough history. And then the preceptor, the senior doctor, walks into the room, and in front of the patient, I start telling them the story, and the patient disagrees with me. I'm like, bro, you just told me all of this. I have it documented here. And sometimes they don't even defend you. They just get more angry because they're not in a good mood because they're sick, and that should be understandable. But then you get thrown under the bus, and you get a bad grade. Now you're ranking lower in your class. You can't get the residency spot you wanted. So you ask for a recommendation letter. They shut you down. You feel like a failure, and you need to go to therapy. You spend a lot of money on therapy. And then you end up becoming a social media influencer, plugging hydroxycut. Ooh, shade throw.
Whoa! Cool down, Mike. Cool down.
There's a pole glued to this gentleman's head, and the guy looks kind of like swaggy, like he has cool glasses on, like a leathery jacket. But what am I looking at? Is he an arugula head? But why? How do we just see a clip of a gentleman saying that he eats no vegetables with a man that says he glues vegetables to his head? Wait for it, wait for it. Oh my God. Oh my God, is that 10 feet? Oh my God. Whoa. Is that the same dog after it got injured? Oh. Yeah, but that's unfair. That's a rocking chair. It's not at one smooth motion. I would stop filming and help the poor dog. Learning how to use its limbs.
What's the one thing that your optometrist doesn't want you to know about?
The fact that the eyeglass and sunglass industry is run by like 2 or 3 major players.
The fact that you do not need glasses.
This is like your dentist didn't want you to know that brushing your teeth is unnecessary.
There are mental, emotional, physical, and even spiritual reasons why you may not be seeing, and I'm here to tell you that that can be healed.
So when we perform LASIK surgery and we fix people's eyesights, what do you think we're doing? Spiritually fixing them?
If a man drank this tea for 2 weeks straight, this is what would happen.
He would spend money that he didn't need to spend. He would potentially be putting unknown particles into his body because usually what's listed in the ingredients is not what's actually in the thing.
If everyone is healthy and at their all-time best, big pharma companies would lose...
No, they wouldn't. People would still get sick because not everything is caused by environmental causes. And our bodies still break down because of aging.
If you want to change your life into something that you never thought was possible, hit the shop button and...
No, don't. I do not endorse that product. I say don't buy that product at all costs. In fact, I would say please don't buy that product. Simply because of the recklessness of that ad.
Gazy fugazi, it's a wazi, it's a woozy, it's a fairy dust. It doesn't exist. It's never landed. It is no matter. It's...
Oh man, when I would talk to cardiologists reading EKG, and I'm like, but I don't understand. This doesn't match. What you're saying is not exactly normal. There's still this irregularity. Because if you look at this, this, and this is the reassuring sign. And I'm like, but it looks like they're having a heart attack. But talk to the patient. Are they having a heart attack? Do you feel it? And I'm like, none of this is by textbook. You're literally doing this as you go. You figure it out as you go. And then you have to realize medicine is about combining book knowledge with experience, with communication skills, and a little bit of artistry. There's just like that perfect little concoction. Rheumatologists, after ordering 1 million tests just to start prednisone. Okay, this is funny, but I'll explain why it's necessary. A lot of times, rheumatologists are sent patients with very non-specific symptoms that require a broad workup. Part of it is ordering all sets of autoimmune labs based on what the symptoms are in the patient. That's why it's important to have a good line of communication with your primary care doctor to see if that's warranted. Or is there something simpler that can be as a cause of your symptoms rather than doing that $1 million work?
Hey, what's up? This is a message from your ankle. What's up, really snap? Snap, snap. Went and got you laid up on your back. Take a nap. Get that ankle back. Rap, rap. Take the time you need to rest, recover, and with that, I swear I'll be better. Girl, I'm down forever. Yeah, we broke up, but we're getting back together. Speaking as a man, I plan to. Speaking as your ankle, best believe I understand you.
I want my ankle to rap to me. My ankle gets swollen from time to time. Here are some images. It hurts, but it's never once rapped to me, especially in that silky smooth voice. Wow. I would throw in something about the deltoid ligament or the anterior talofibular ligament, just to make it a little bit more confusing. Because when you use medical jargon, it feels right. Living 12 years in the midst of your own waste is a problem, and that was what happened on this episode of Hoarders, but I did not like how they handled it. So click here to check out my reaction. And as always, stay happy and healthy. Dr. House is out of control, but so am I. Let's watch this episode.
911, what's your emergency? We got into an accident along the Canal Road, just outside Kingston. My mom's unconscious. Are you hurt?
She should have asked, does she have a pulse? And if not, start chest compression.
I'm fine.
You're not fine. You have a metal object going through your body.
Ow. Can we hurry this up?
Make sure they take your time. What's your name?
Hannah Morgenthau.
You have SEPA, Hannah Morgenthau.
What is SEPA?
Oh, I don't.
We have to do x-rays to make sure you don't have internal injuries, blood tests to make sure no infections, EEG for neurological anomalies, and biopsy a spinal nerve.
I love how he just decided that because he didn't like how she was responding to the alcohol on her leg. And first of all, who puts alcohol on a leg? All you need is a little soapy water. Like, alcohol actually disrupts the skin tissue.
Only been about 60 documented cases? Yeah, and I have 7 reasons to think that she's one of them.
Or she has neuralgia paresthetica and she's wearing a really tight belt. Come on, House, shape up.
Reason number 1, she knew what it was without us telling her.
That's true, but she could have also been just acting tough, you know, because some guy challenged her, like you.
2, she's still wet from the snow. She's not shivering. That's odd. Unless she can't sweat or feel hot and cold.
The ambulance was warm. I want to see my mother.
3, scarring around the lips and tongue. When she was a baby, she chewed on herself without feeling it.
I fell through a window when I was a kid.
4, you cleaned the wound, she flexed into the cleaner instead of away from it. It's hard to fake pain when you've never felt it. It takes an imaginative leap, Ms. Morgenthau. She wants to see her mom. She admits having SEPA. She knows we're not letting her go anywhere without a battery of tests.
If she already knows she has SEPA, why run the battery of tests? I feel like House just like wasting hospital resources.
Taking her to see her mom.
Imagine he's wrong and he just hit a poor kid. Oh, why am I laughing?
Is this a real case or one of those imaginary cases that happen when you're bored?
SEPA.
SEPA is a diagnosis. Diagnoses happen at the end of cases.
Thank you.
She's got no idea what's going on in her body. There's bound to be something wrong.
In other words, she could be perfectly healthy, but you're curious about someone who can't feel pain because you always feel pain, so you want to go exploring.
Or maybe because she has SEPA and was just involved in a major car accident, you should pan scan her and make sure she doesn't have internal bleeding or injuries. Which would be a very simple test that House doesn't need to be present for and he can go home.
She was in a car accident. She needs x-rays, blood tests, EEG, nerve biopsy.
What does she need an EEG for? What are you looking for? If she's having a seizure right now, you can see if she's having a seizure.
Do your test. Except the nerve biopsy.
They need the nerve
You'd
biopsy.
risk paralyzing her.
What do you need a nerve biopsy for? Again, if it's congenital, we know. There's no need looking for a biopsy and a cause.
If the EEG reveals a problem, we can talk then.
But the EEG is not a defining test. EEG is going to show you brain waves. Like, what is that going to tell you? Maybe they meant an EMG, and they're just using the wrong acronym? That's an EEG. No idea why they're doing it.
Spiking on leads C3 and O2.
She could be going into a seizure.
Oh, what is this? I don't understand. She could be? You can't see it?
What do you want us to do? Hold her down? Well, only until you inject her with a sedative, then you can let her go.
We tried. Seriously? She's strong and doesn't care. We'd have broken something before we can get her to sit still enough to inject her.
So, break her arm. If you won't mind.
You're cranky.
I'm in pain, and he's jealous of her for not being in pain. Little does he know, a world without pain is a much more dangerous and problematic world than with pain. Ironic.
Every morning, I have to check my eyes to make sure I didn't scratch a cornea in my sleep.
Oh, God, stop. I'm in a pool of tears here.
I can't cry.
Neither can I. Every morning, I check my eyes for jaundice. His Vicodin's finally shot my liver.
I can't run anywhere without examining all my toes for swelling.
I can't run.
It's opposite ends of the spectrum. Neither are good. That's why we have homeostasis.
I'm sick? No, your EEG was normal. X-ray showed no breaks. Blood test showed no infections. Urine indicated no.
Call code.
Okay. You do not call a code because someone becomes unresponsive. She could be having a seizure. You don't need to call a code. A code is when someone's heart stops.
Need ice packs and cooling blankets.
For what? Do you know what the condition is?
She's not flushed. She's not sweating. You must be.
She's a temperature of 105.
How does she know? Oh, because the thermometer was still hanging out? Normally, if you are a healthy adult, a fever will be controlled. If you have a rare condition, it can go out of control and actually cause harm to your body. That is why I'm a proponent of, in certain instances, decreasing the amount of Tylenol, Advil, Motrin that we give to patients when they have a mild fever. Because a mild fever, generally speaking, doesn't do harm. In fact, it allows your immune system to work better and fight off infections. Make your symptoms go away faster. Improve your immune system. Make you spend less time being infectious, infecting other people. So, like, in this case, this is the rare instance where her fever can fry her brain.
What if we give her more pain signals? A lot more pain signals. Maybe some of them will make it through.
You want to torture her?
No. Yes, we do this to anybody else, it's torture. Doing it to her is no different than pricking a finger. Keep poking sharp sticks into her. Eventually we'll find a part that's already tender.
That's the most ridiculous thing I ever heard. On the off chance that maybe she might feel something and maybe we'll poke the right area. What if it's internal? What are you gonna do then, Chief?
It's warm. The other is very hot. Start here, move to the hot one, just a few seconds, then back. We're gonna monitor activity in your brain while you do it. If you feel any response to the heat, it could indicate a vascular problem.
What?
She's still in surgery. They tell me it's going okay. You can take your hand out.
And you didn't ask anything else?
Take your hand out of the water.
What's going on with my mother?
You just got second-degree burns.
Because you put her arm in scalding water. Doctor?
I didn't feel anything when you guys screwed this thing into my head.
Replace missing chemicals in your nerves. Heightened sensitivity.
What? On what planet? This would never happen. Oh my god. Honestly, I wish I was this girl simply so I could sue this hospital and become a billionaire. Judge, jury, they drilled into my skull because maybe they thought I'd feel it. I win. That's it. I win.
So what? I just sit here while you guys drill a hole in me?
Just think about it. If they drill like a centimeter too deep and hurt her brain and she becomes functionally impaired, then what? Like, the pros and cons of this are terrible.
Stop the drill.
Hindi ko na naibobo puto. Gago, nag-recall pala yun. Nag-recall pala, gago, puta. Pushing yung word, nag-recall, ang galing. Bobo mo naman, hindi mo alam kailan ka dapat magre-record. Habol ang tanga mo. Magaling ko yung tangos na siguro. Okay lang naman eh. Nothing wrong with buying this, I guess. Okay, man. Binuksan mo ba? Hindi na sinarado yung pinto kanina. Sarado. Hindi na yun. What? Mapa-church na kami ito.
Alam mo yung ano ta, Nat? Yung sa Bilyasi, yung seb-seb. Yun na.
Alis na ako. May ano din po sa akin.
Be!
Yes. Nung tinawag mo na si Baby, hindi mo kinuha yung pusa talaga. Ang ina mo, tanga mo. GA na lang ata no. Ang ina mo na buhay. Flash gago.
lower this insane electricity bill? Yes, this is it. Cool, cool. I can't wait to try.
Yung sila. Pumunta dyan kasama asawa. Sino yung driver?
Influence over. As well, T1 making sure if this mid lane turret falls and is quite low, even with Caps dying twice, it's still Tristana, so is still going to have a really easy time shooting for that turret health. The entire ring of outers is going to be gone. And as already mentioned, I think that T1 still have a really strong 5v5. You can't always create vision with a TF ultimate, but if you don't have a good grasp of where the members on G2 are, any combo of Mickey or Yike or Broken Blade finding their access onto the enemy backline is going to be an absolute disaster.
See both teams just playing the do we have the numbers game. Who do we see in the side lane? Okay, we see them as Mickey steps forward. Passes away. Onus very healthy. Mickey took a huge chunk there. Hasn't got his first item yet. Herald down in mid lane would make sense here as T1 look to pressure this mid lane turret. All 5 members around here. Caps recalling in a side lane. This turret has been given up by G2. Well claimed by T1.
I think they can escort the Herald in for another siege. Broken Blade has made his way mid. Caps doesn't want to overstay bot. He recognizes the potential collapse and they'll get it. T1 getting decent value out of this Herald. They'll be the first to open up the mid tier 1. G2 will likely look to try and respond with the dragon spawning in about 2 minutes time. I imagine that'll be the next big point of contention.
Betty is T1. The Baron's up before that.
That's a good point. Very good call. I mean, I was thinking to myself earlier, oh, hang on a second, Broken Blades.
Manages to get onto Guma Yushi, who has the claims, who has the flash, and has the chain of corruption, but it's blocked by the wind wall. G2 investing the TP here as Mickey falls to a piercing arrow, and Kavaya finds the double knock-up. Yike trying to do everything he can as Caps is forced away with the exhaust. Zeus logs in the gold card, and Summer has to cleanse. And there goes Ona pushing forward once again. The Destiny onto the back line as Yike now locked up, shut down by Faker. And Summer next on the menu as the dive forward continues for T1. It's beautiful.
And Guma of all people, if he looks to be too juicy of a target, he probably is. The man has been so consistent, he's the bait served up. And G2 take it. Broken Blade had a 2-man knock-up there just as Carrier was going in. So a few members of G2 end up making it out. That could have gone even worse here as G2 look to punish, look to go for the mid lane turret, and it ends in disaster. So it's Guma that gets knocked up, the engage from Ona to then try and split G2 up. Zeus connects the stun, and then Guma still ends up securing the kill. The nice knock-up from Carrier means that he's now buying so much time against 3 members. Caps is forced to disengage. And then G2 is on the retreat. A nice flash knock-up from Ona. The ultimate from TF alongside Faker engaging means that G2 gets run down and just excellent teamfight execution from T1. All 5 stay alive and G2 lose 3.
Yeah, you talked about it, Chronicler. The team fight from T1 is just exceptional. Mickey unable to have any effect. You mentioned that as well. Mickey needs to be able to get in there, have that Magnet Storm, lock up a few people here. He's chunked out before he even gets close to the fight. Now trying to get that flank off. Blast cones in. 20 minutes on the clock, and T1 have said, well, it's time to dine on a Baron Dragon up, but it would only be the second of the game for either team.
G2 honestly have a better composition when it comes to taking the Baron than T1 though. T1 obviously a Faker who is building towards that Leandries, but between the on-hit Callista as well as a Bed Lilia, there is a lot of power as Broken Blade.
Pull down, gold card out, Carrier goes back in, chain of corruption for the follow-up. Mickey looking for the Magnet Storm, Caps dives to the backline, Broken Blade with the last breath, and Zeus tries to flash away, he kills Broken Blade. Caps gets 1, but Gumayushi puts him in his place. Sent to the 7 hells as G2 lose 2. T1 have lost 1, only Zeus falling.
G2 getting a little desperate with them forcing these fights. Gumayushi and Faker completely untouched. A heavy commitment onto trying to kill Zeus means that both Caps and Broken Blade lose their lives.
I don't know why they have to be. Now, for the first time in this game, T1 is sitting on a gold lead. They're going to be able to get a second Drake here as well.
Mickey looking for another engage, but there's not a lot of vision.
No vision at all. Yeah, he could try and steal with the swell seed. Mickey's just dead. He's had a struggle on this run. Hasn't really been able to get into the game at all.
Faker started this game 0-2. He is now dominating with a 2k gold lead over Caps. Level 14 on the Azir, 6-2-1.
I mean, it doesn't mean anything, but if you put the control ward too far on your side of that bush, you can still be spotted, and their resets are stopped by Hans Sommer.
The moment they see Hans Hopter, I was like, oh wait, something's up here, gentlemen. As we take another look here, even though Broken Blade is able to deny the gold card, the amount of space being bought here by Owner and Carrier specifically means that only Caps is actually dealing damage into the enemy backline, and even though Faker doesn't hit him with the ultimate, still with the fight being split, Carrier standing in the front, there's not enough damage available.
And just an execution error there from Broken Blade. He doesn't get the ultimate onto the backline. He then tries to connect the knockup from his Q, misses it onto Gumayushi, which means that he and Zeus then have enough space to turn the fight around in their favor. And again, it's just G2 really trying to force these fights. They knew that the Dragon was up, but questionable whether they needed to try and force that in mid lane. Ultimately, a great engage from Carrier, punishing Broken Blade for looking for that pick. And now T1 find themselves with the momentum swung in their favor.
Praising Carrier is often a good thing to do when
safe
T1
bet.
are playing.
Yeah.
It is a safe bet. I wonder how his Alistair would be, considering he's known much more for, you know, the AD carries, a bit more damage, the Nico, the Rumble, things like that, but very proficient on it in this game. Alongside him, Faker just absolutely ripping through G2 after getting that bounty in the top lane on Broken Blade. It's all coming up roses for Faker and for T1. Not to doubt Zeus as well. He fell so far behind, but every fight, a gold card on the right target. Someone jumps in, gold card, burn the...
Basta kada may magbayad sa kanya, higupin nila ang bayad. Ganun naman talaga yun, katulad kay Tito Bray. Kaya nagulat ako bakit hindi lang pa. Tayo 80, gago. Dishonest yung driver na. Hindi nagsasabi ng mukhang kung nagpadala ako di goodbye na siya. Tapos ang mahirap niyan, ginamit yung number natin, lahat na requirements ginamit. Tapos sa iba siya drive. Pero kailangan kong tawag dito. Napunta kami eskwela. Kailangan niya makita dun yung unit eh.
The win wall, then you follow up with another gold card. Remembering exactly how it ticks so you can lock it in immediately as you come in with your wild.
Oh, there we go. We talked about it. TP is invested.
So BB has TP. Faker TP is up to the top lane. Mickey's going to jump the wall. Faker not going to slide forward. No vision in the pit for G2. Carrier flashing, not back. Locked up with the stun card. The chain of corruption. And Caps is collapsed.
Carrier once again. His Alistair is absolutely popping off in this game. He punishes Caps and now the Baron is unlocked for T1.
Tristan, that character with so much built-in safety, you feel safe to just walk towards that unwarded brush, but unfortunately for Caps, Carrier was waiting. They will get a consolation turret on the other end of the map. Doesn't look like they're going to get much more than that, though. Waiting, Zeus did have his ultimate available, but that is going to be...
Decides against it, no Destiny 4. That's all for that play. T1 now, 1,500 gold ahead. They have the Red Bull Baron power play to work with. What can they get out of it? Well, there's a tier 1 in the bot lane, all the tier 2s still remain. Gold will be flowing into their pockets like mana from heaven if they play this properly, and they've been playing the mid game pretty properly so far.
I mean, Just a great pick found from Carrier. He's
niya
controlling the space well. T1, they were setting up the Baron nicely, and they just utilized the darkness to perfection. Great flash engage. They find a pick, they convert it into a Baron. 2k gold lead now for T1. They're beginning to extend their control, moving into G2 side of the map. They have a comfortable advantage, and they have a bot tower that they want to secure.
Really, one of the big benefits of the roster staying together for as long as they have, that we've collectively watched them go from their Baron calls being kind of a meme, where it's like, well, let's 50-50 it, to them now genuinely, and even within the LCK, we saw this countless times, having incredible, not just kind of a sense for when to start these Barons, but how they utilize them to pressure side lanes, how they utilize the set of the map as Caps.
Goldcard once again, Caps exhausted, trying to trade with Zeus, no flash for him. Gumu and Ono on the chase, dash forward with the audacious charge, chain of corruption, and Caps is sent packing. 2-5 and 2 now.
I mean, I guess Caps was just looking for something on a side lane. T1, I'm not going to give him any options. And their gold lead now. 3k is the Baron power play. Dragon spawning in 35 seconds. G2 are going to be forced to give this one away. Faker tipped over to level 16 not that long ago. And he's working towards what looks to be a death cap 4th item.
We talked a little bit about MSI being T1's Boogeyman tournament. Well, last year at MSI, Caps was one of the main problems on G2. He really struggled to have an impact. This year, he's been performing incredibly in the LEC. We were talking about whether it's Prime Caps back from the dead. In this game, he has been struggling.
Early game looked good, but ever since that topside roam didn't end up working out, it's been quite rough. T1 now setting up, making their way over. Baron about to time out, looking to play towards this. Oh, they try to cop some Faker.
Just kill Faker. It's been said so many times. The flash from Faker immediately pops the stopwatch. Gumayushi here for the Jake Jenner question blocked. With the wind wall, and Faker will fall, but Nicky almost follows. Face call gets him out. Owner, Carrier, Gumayushi and Zeus on the chase forward. Goldcard locked again. Carrier gets a double knock of the Caps. Able to buffer out of it. Carrier on the backline. Kills off Mickey. Yike trying to do everything he can. Broken Blade low. Buster shot into the engage with the last breath. But it's Broken Blade who has lost the breath from his lungs. Yike looking for more. Owner low. Gumayushi and Zeus very healthy though. And Hans Summer. Caps and Yike will just back away. They look to set up a play, but won't try and trap T1.
Even in a 4 versus 5, T1 are able to equalize the team fight. They play with such patience, and the way they use their range means that G2 really struggle to find the target. Carrier buys a bunch of time with his ultimate, then Oda buys a bunch of time with his ultimate. G2 seem to be limited in their options as to how they win these fights.
Also, one of the big issues that many teams in the LCK have talked about is, oh, Zeus might be overextended here, the TP.
Gumayushi is there, chain of corruption about to come back on cooldown. Caps jumps onto Zeus. Locked up with the gold card once again. Counter TP as Caps look for the play, but T1 answer with a fist of their own. Caps down again. Faker TP's in, and you have to think that might just be it for G2.
Might just look for the end here. T1 pushing down through mid.
Gonna be on the inhibitor tower very shortly. Broken Blade Mickey trying to defend, but it's the Nexus turrets that they will be defending. I think T1 just want the inhib. Get the Drake, get yourself on soul point, take anything from G2's jungle on the way out.
As I was saying earlier, one of the big things that many teams have talked about when it comes to facing T1 is that it becomes a mind game of its own. Is Faker overextended? Because sometimes he is, or is it just, is the rest of T1 ready to respond? And it becomes kind of a lose-lose situation where you have to punish him in situations like that. When the rest of the team is ready, it can backfire immensely.
4.2k is the gold lead he has over Caps right now. The bot lane as well for T1. I mean, I was going to say a silent Carrier, but Carrier has not been silent this game. His impact has been absolute kills. And but Gumayushi, 0 deaths. His positioning has been flawless in these fights. As desperately as G2 has tried to get onto the backline, he has really been in no danger at all. And T1 demonstrating the level of their team fighting and how difficult it is to team fight against this roster. The Dragons secured. T1 poised to take game 1 of this series. And while G2 showed us some promising things in the early game, T1 have bounced back incredibly well.
Look at where G2 had their lead, mostly on Broken Blade. He's at 3 items, but so is Zeus. Now has a bounty on his head. Someone's really angry at him for being 60 CS down, 1.6k.
I mean, I wouldn't trust TF. I would put out a bounty on his head.
Yep.
You know he's
I mean,
involved.
sure
He's involved in some nefarious business,
Him and
okay?
Graves looking shady.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Magnus Storm in as immediately they dive in. Baker puts the Emperor's Divide down, but G2 from the darkness found something. Zeus with the blast cone out. Will G2 overextend for more? Will T1 catch them in that trap?
And that's what I was talking about. You got to keep looking for the plays. They take down Faker. It will buy them a little bit of time as the Baron is about to come up here. There was a decent amount invested though. We'll see if T1 is going to at least posture, maybe set up a trap.
I will say, Baker seemed to be cautious of a potential play. I don't think he was expecting that though. There was very little he could do in the situation. Didn't have flash, did commit the ult. Now G2 with the numbers advantage, they need to look for a fight.
Baron up, no TP on Faker. He's 20 seconds away. Gold card locked once again as Mickey down to half HP. Only has that Trailblazer in terms of completed items. G2 might just call for the flip here. Go for the 50-50. You're so far down in the hole anyway. 5,000 gold behind T1. Destiny out. Carrier getting forced away by Caps. G2 still on the Baron. Chain of Corruption just goes wide. Mickey locked up with a gold card once again. The Baron down to 2,000. Zeus takes one, but Yike gets the Baron. Carrier with a 3-man knockup. Owner with the Crescent Guard. Stopwatch coming out as G2 just try and get out of the fight, but they might look for more. Yike has the lilting lullaby. Only locks up Owner. Unsummer dancing and ducking and weaving his way around the pit, but he just can't get away. Gold card locked again as Yike's day will be ended. The Baron for what? Perhaps a Nexus.
Incredible team fight once again from T1. Carrier just keeps finding these engages. They have 5 people alive, only 2 left to defend. I don't know if the Baron buff is going to be enough to keep G2 alive in this game.
It would be a miracle to end all miracles as Caps is just demolished. Broken blade there in time with the wind wall. The Baron up minions helping out G2 a little bit here as T1 start the siege. Carrier down to half HP, Unbreakable Will almost back up for him. The first Nexus tower falling lower. They're trying to get both at the same time. They take one. Mickey goes for the engage, last breath, but it's only onto Zeus. The Magnus Storm not going to do too much. And it looks like it's all over for G2 in game 1. Owner playing with his food a little bit as Broken Blade's locked up. Caps trying to get the damage down, but Hunt Summers next on the menu as T1 clean up G2. And it's T1 G0.
The amount of dive available for G2, and Guma somehow ends up with a perfect KDA on an immobile carry. The early game, the counter picks. I love the game plan from G2, but it felt like in the middle there, they kind of lost track. And once they lost control, once you lose control to T1, they are not very easily going to give it back.
The momentum shifted incredibly fast, and T1 seemed to never let it go.
We'll have to see what the analysts think of that game, but it was a banger nonetheless.
It absolutely was, but this is the best comeback team in the world, and you've given them their comeback on a silver platter. They will not say no to that, and they finished the game the way they took it over after, I want to say, the first pause, right? It's almost like they flipped the switch immediately, and it's interesting how I was talking to Maurits before, and he said one thing you need to know, Gumayushi has been the most consistent player for this team for a long, long time, and he, together with the rest of his bot lane, just masterfully played that game.
It was so beautiful, and it felt like it was just that one opening. The moment they found that one opening, and to me, that was, I mean, we'll get through the replays, but for me, it was like the moment Tristana went top, couldn't find a play, goes back mid. Owner's like, actually, let's see if your jungler's behind you. And there was that one opening that started to really give some leeway for T1.
Yeah, I think it was the how T1 consistently reacted to G2 going for these plays. We saw these a lot in the LEC where G2 would very quickly overload a point of the map.
Yes.
But it was T1 prepared for it. T1 were always there. They had Zeus who was coming in with the ultimate. They always had Owner in the back pocket. And when it got to these skirmishes, you have the better skirmishing composition for T1.
Well, Raz will take a look at the replay, and one of the replays we want to talk about immediately because every second counts in League of Legends, and thanks to the reliable Cisco network, T1 turned around a mid-lane fight, yeah, I was startled, onto G2 and completely take over, but this is, again, G2 fighting us more than they can shoot.
Yeah, it was just an overstep there. Great flag from Gumayushi, but amazing play from the Alistar going into a headbutt pull combo. Basically went for a headbutt onto a minion, then Q flashes to get 2 members. Thankfully, the Yasuo did get like a Q3 on towards Faker, so he didn't get a follow-up. They just chased them down immediately afterwards and got another kill, though.
Yeah, and this is really well orchestrated by T1. Not only do you have that moment where you're able to get carried to the backline, you're flashing Guma out of all harm's way.
Yes.
It's also the target selection in these moments where Zeus is picking off consistently Mickey. Mickey is kind of the crutch of this whole thing where he wants to flash in, get this big ult off, but we're not seeing that in any of these fights because he's consistently targeted down.
And Raz, the juxtaposition with Carrier on this Alistar everywhere, seeing the moment, flashing in, headbutting, setting up the plays for his team. It was just, the difference couldn't be any bigger.
He played with Fogabor so well. There was another play that he was able to like be in the enemy blue side jungle and then be able to get another play, another pick. He is so damn good on this pick. And another thing too is just like these team fights, we were talking about it, Dagda. Actually going into this game, the one problem they were going to be facing is the gold card and the Alistar and being able to fight past them if they lose a goal lead. And I think Carrier really played well with the deficit that they had to bring them back in.
Yeah, put into words beautifully. I also want to take a look at some of Caps' things. You know, Caps recaps with Caps that League does, that G2 does. We did it as well. It starts off well, Dagda, but it's not going to continue well.
Yeah, I think Caps did a really good job here in the early stages of playing into the matchup, going, look, I can very quickly take over here, playing hyper aggressive, but the problem was when he started to go up for this roam on top side, gets caught out in transition, then tries to play in towards these skirmishes again, gets caught out. And I think that was kind of the big factor here is when you look at the 2v2, it's the Zinzao versus and Nazir versus a Lilia Tristana. Having that front line in the Zinzao gives you so much more, and when Caps tries to make these plays happen, you're just consistently getting caught out.
Yeah, the worst sequence of plays that happened to me was when Yasuo was up top lane, basically Broken Blade was in between two turrets, Azir goes top lane, basically gets him, and then you're like, okay, so don't make too many plays at once, especially with Yasuo dead, take a step back and just breathe. But they tried to make a dive towards mid lane when Twisted Fate had ulti, and a TP came through. Basically, I felt like the fundamentals from G2, when a mistake happened, we're just lost.
It's like everything went out the window, right?
Yes.
Once that mistake. It's like the trade-off where you get a solo kill on Faker, I get as T1 the entire game.
But it feels like the reverse of what we saw from them in regular splits, where it was the early game went great, the mid game was poor.
Yeah.
And now this is where their mid game was a complete disaster. So it feels like G2.
I mean, their early game wasn't always that good,
Yeah.
by the way. So I think, yeah. Anyways, but let's take a look at the context of the best of 5, because I guess you could take two approaches. T1, you were happy because you repelled this plan from G2 that perhaps you didn't see coming.
Yeah.
For G2, I guess you can see it as, we're going to try this game 1, see how it plays out. We have a lot more in our bank in terms of we want to try, and we are confident we can play standard, or this was our trump card.
See, because that was the first thought that I had. So I'd be like, actually, should I flip-flop and go from 3-1 to 3-0? That's the first thought I had. I was like, I probably shouldn't, because I would put more focus on how the first 5 minutes of the game played. BB played exceptionally with the lead that they had, and they kept the freeze there. I think as long as they keep the team play intact, that's for sure the conversation they're having in the back, then they can take a game.
I think the problem that I have is that the manner in which they lost.
You can take it, Gary.
I think the problem that I have is that the way the G2 lost, they didn't just lose, they had individual mistakes, and that's not something that is going to be fixed with a change in lane swaps or anything like that. So that's where I'm actually now very worried for G2.
It used to be the G2, you know, where they felt most comfortable. I don't know if it's the same. It's
there was
T1
no
that takes the
Yasuo.
first
What
game.
should we do?
There wasn't. But as we go to break, let's join Caps in a behind-the-scenes look at MSI thanks to the upload count.
Hey guys, we're here behind the scenes. I'm G2 Caps. We're filming some cool videos, some high videos for the MSI, and I'm just looking forward to MSI.
Paano kayong
Ay, naka. Ang bobo ang puta. Ano ito tanga? lang, patay na siya. Either way. Ay, ay, ay. Pangit ang pwesto ko dun. Bakit? What the fuck? Ang tipi. Gago. Tilted na yun. Lobong ano.
Actually eerie how T1 was 4 kills up and now G2 is the one finding kills back, and the pick after pick gonna convert this into the grubs as well.
They're still looking to contest.
I think you just want 4 here. Back away from it. T1
I
trying
think
to
they
stop
want
them from
5
getting
medics.
6. Well, 6 is the new breakpoint, right? 4 and 6 with the changes. It looks like T1 were trying to stop them from taking them. Can't do so. Caps pushing in the top lane, so it will be 6 in the end for G2.
The big thing here, though, is that T1 is dropping a lot of waves, trying to contest this objective that isn't really that essential. Caps has just been shoving relentless because Faker ended up dying. He's now at a 30 CS deficit is Faker.
And there's the flash here. Void Rush used to dodge away from the seismic shove, but now Yike is very deep. Breaker in by Ono, and Yike just tunnels out of there. Secret tunnel. Yike manages to escape.
I think he was just trying to get the flash out from Faker. Nice response the moment he saw Ona. Ends up being an exchange of ultis, but Faker holds on to his flash. Great great patience is the word I was looking for from Faker, as that was a scary situation for him to find himself in.
Faker's in a scary position in this game. 1,100 gold behind, only 95 farm at 13 minutes. Caps leading the gold chart. And I mean, game one did start off a little bit like that as well, with Caps getting the lead. We'll see if G2 can continue this swing back in their favor.
Big thing here is that Faker has basically been maybe pulling him out of the bottom side range at the full side. Then he walks towards top, ends up getting taken down as well, or ends up actually getting taken down. And now the gold lead that T1 had has fully evaporated, so is going to look like it might, as you already pointed out, Vedi, now on even footing, gonna come down to how do the actual 5v5s play out, because these are still, you know, more skirmishy than they are straight up tanks in the front line, try and get as much damage down as you pointed out. And the Fed Oriana, as far as, you know, front to backing, I think you're going to be feeling great about.
I mean, for sure. It's I'm excited to see how these fights play out. Right now, it's T1 setting up for a dragon. I mean, I see that they've kind of got wards littered across the map, but I think G2's in a better position to contest the Herald with the pressure that Caps has. Mickey, he's going to be fine. But I think G2 can afford to sacrifice this dragon, get the Herald, use it to break open the mid tower, and kind of use this pressure to then start moving into T1 side of the map.
T1 is just dropping here. A lot of that, or rather, is just letting the turret go. Zeus is there now, but the turret is going to get taken now nonetheless. G2 now back in the lead. T1, they're doing a lot of posturing here, but without Zeus, their engage isn't actually that good. He's the only one that can start fights, unless you find a flank, unless you find, yeah, exactly, or unless Guma finds someone with an arrow, which shouldn't happen. That's the one thing, though, that I think G2 has to be really careful about. The amount of like single target lockdown and burst damage that's available, which can start off the Viego resets, that is the one thing that they really got to be careful about when we get to these fights.
In team fights, there's always the risk of overextension as well. The pop blossom will separate your backline from your front line. It becomes very difficult for G2 to actually effectively play a fight.
Yeah, here's what I will say. I talked about it earlier that like, I had some concerns around Hanzo actually being able to deal damage in the fights, but when we think back to the regular season of G2 playing, when Broken Blade was on... Oh, hang on a second. Carrier's been spotted here.
Right, looking for him. Goes forward. Carrier flashes away. Drake secured. Broken Blade diving onto the back line. It's only Carrier for now. There's the pop blossom. TP's behind. As Carrier will fall first. The TP behind from T1. Not going to look for any more of a collapse. Faker just investing there. G2 can continue to press in. Broken Blade. Channel the E. Doesn't go for it. Faker forced off towards the top side by Caps. Two-level disadvantage for Faker right now. He's been starved of XP. It's actually about a level and a quarter if you look at how far Faker is towards that 6. Faker holds the flash, flashes the wall, and the Zenith blade just short from Mickey.
I think that's still a decent trade, though, trading your support flash. Oh, Hansama.
Faker going in with the Weaver's Wall. Hansama side, steps aside, McShove. Owner coming from the bottom side as well as the Call of the Port got his flashed by Hansama. In the end, turns out being a couple of flashes for a couple there.
The thing about Faker's play is it keeps G2 still on the map. Remember that they made that dragon play, haven't actually had an opportunity to reset, whereas Guma is already making his way back out. This could have been a window where T1 maybe could have taken a tempo advantage, but G2 immediately move up towards top. They still have Hansama clear out mid. Bot is still pushing in their favor, and they're still going to look to try and contest this Herald.
Arrow path in by Owner. Just look for the smite. Standing still. Not going to be seen by the tremor sense from Yike. Hansama dashes towards him. Exclamation mark above his head showing that Ono is closest. Guma, oh, beautiful footwork from Guma. Put him on stage at the Ritz. That was gorgeous, dancing away from the elastic slingshot and the stretching strike.
Now back to back though, the team has gotten a pretty substantial early lead and it is then evaporated. Very different circumstances this time around. I do think that for T1 it's important to know that the Ornn is always going to eventually generate insane amounts of value. So I can imagine if G2 still feel the need to play a little bit aggressive.
Does still have the flash. Mickey's on his way here. Flash away, but the Heartbreaker breaks the hearts of Europe. Yike's still on the chase though. Owner has no flash. Broken Blade coming in from the side. Let's bounce, baby! Faker locked up. Owner sent packing. G2 get 2.
I don't think the game plan was for Caps to die, but G2 make it work. 2 for 1. Gumayushi and Carrier that were on the rotation up to try and turn this play around. It's not going to work out. The Herald is going to be dropped as G2 try to convert this into 2 towers. The goal lead is quickly ballooning in G2's favor as game 2 the momentum is shifting.
Mickey looking for Faker here. Pops the ultimate. It's actually Carrier, sorry. Massive pop blossom. Guma trying to turn it around onto Hansama. Can't quite get close enough. Another piercing arrow might be enough. Get through him as Broken Blade hits the tower. Can't do damage to that one.
Oh, that's
the mid lane tower is still stands.
I was really confused then, but that makes sense. Thumbs up from Broken Blade. He's going to be spotted on all this vision, and Guma's going to respect it. Man, Guma's so crazy good. His positioning and his footwork is so incredible to watch. Able to outplay Hansama and Mickey in that fight, but let's look back at this top player.
As we're taking a look here, you see how ready G2 is. It's flipping a classic T1 play, which is the mid laner is bait around. Yes, Caps ended up going down, but you're still going to take that trade, especially because Owner was actually getting slowly more and more fed. Instead, with Yike and Mickey already there, could have killed him, but the presence of Broken Blade guarantees that they're also able to pick up Faker even with the amount of self-heal that Talia has. The breaking point though for me is going to be, do they win this Infernal Drake? Because that is going to be, if T1 ends up winning that and gets Soul Point, then I think the game becomes incredibly hard to play out for G2.
Shockwave in by Caps, as Faker's pulled back, Serap's there, Yike coming in from across the wall as well. The smite can go in with the Void Rush, but Caps takes the kill. G2 collapses, T1 were looking for something on the top side. A 2,500 gold lead now, Yike 4-0-1 on this Rek'Sai.
The positions have been completely reversed. It's Faker who's having a rough game as Caps is getting close now to a 2-level lead over Faker. 1.7k the gold lead, and Caps is playing a calm and controlled game as he works with Yike to just attack and punish the side lane.
This is the mid-game G2 have been working on all year long. Jump in by Broken Blade, does still have the passive TP coming forward as well. Broken Blade able to get out with a flash and a lights bounce he's put into the cell division. Will T1 continue to collapse? You've got the Call of the Forge God, you've got the Pop Blossom. Kerry looking for the flank, can't quite land. The Tangled Barbs instead elects to a Blooming Burst.
A lot committed with the Dragon spawning in 25 seconds. G2 had to commit a lot. Trying to keep my eyes on Caps. That ultimate available in 5 seconds for Broken Blade. No flash, no ult, no flash on Caps. Summoners available for Faker. Zeus is gonna get the upgrades. I feel like this is a scary position for G2 to fight, but it looks like they're gonna go for it.
The one thing that G2 do still have is full control here. They also have the ward as Guma
cleanse. No flash. Holds on to it wisely.
That might be the Drake though, and that's a big thing. We'll see G2, I think they might want to really commit to this, but no, Guma is not going to actually make this back happen.
Faker's use of the wall could be massive here. G2 pushes in mid. The Dragon is started, but it's T1 that have access to the river.
Broken Blade's going for the flank. Let's bounce, about to come back off cooldown. Call of the Forge God for Zeus. Broken Blade sneaks in, seen by Zeus and Carrier. Starts to back away, Dragon down to 4,000. Owner trying to get in for the smite. You have Ren smite and it's secured by G2. Faker puts the Weaver's wall down and separates Hansama and Caps from the team. Broken Blade dives in and might just have to jump out across the wall here. Call of the Forge God trying to protect Faker. Mickey falling low, dive in by Owner, but the Fate's Call will pull Mickey to safety. Carrier continues to step in, looks for the Tangle Barbs, can't land it. G2 get the Drake and get out.
Also get Prio here towards the mid wave. And without Zeus' ultimate, you see there, T1's engage really isn't that great. Carrier doesn't actually find backline access. And a crucial point for G2 as they deny the soul point. That could have been T1 putting themselves in a comfort position where they can threaten the Baron, where they can just start trading. But it's not going to be the case.
That was a weird fight, boys. I don't know if you noticed this, but Hans literally flashed on top of Faker, and then Zeus was like, I have ulti, I think I can collapse. But the rest of T1 couldn't actually follow because there was a whole other skirmish. It was kind of awkward for both sides, given that Faker kind of split the map with his ulti. And we're not going to get a replay because no one ended up dying, but it was a very strange set of affairs that really highlights what you're talking about, Chronicler. When the engage kind of disappears from Broken Blade, Mickey, and Zeus, the teams just kind of look at each other.
They're just standing there menacingly.
So ultimately, G2 will walk away with the victory because they hold on to the gold lead. They secure the Dragon, deny that soul point from T1. And now things like the Baron become a point of contention. And you've got to remember that while neither team have the fastest Baron, T1 is very scary at being able to sneak these Barons away at a time that you least expect.
I think importantly for T1, Carrier still has flash. Only Faker's burnt his flash, so if the fight does begin, you have that backline access. Hansama, no flash, no cleanse. Broken Blade, no flash as well. Will have his passive up for the next fight as he continues to push Zeus in the bot lane. And what a series Broken Blade is having so far. You talked a little bit about it in Game 1, Betty. His TSM days seem to be behind him, where internationally perhaps he struggled. Over the last couple of years, he has really evolved as a player. Here, he's almost 2,000 gold ahead of Zeus in what has essentially been a tank versus tank matchup without a huge amount of interaction.
I will say, much better performance from Caps this time around. The debate so much last year was around his individual performance, and we rated him very highly coming into this tournament. Hans Sommer in some danger.
Hans Sommer, no flash, no cleanse. Starlight steps to the side. McShelvin. Faker has no flash of his own. TP comes in. Broken Blade going to join the fight. Void rush forward. Faker goes down. And now the call of the Forge God is more of a prayer sent to the heavens to try and escape his Caps. It's on the flank. And I've seen a shockwave land here before. Cap steps in. Pop Blossom. What? It's beautiful. But they do not have the damage. The shockwave from Caps finds them all as G2 wipe away T1.
And Guma is going to desperately try to run. He might make it out, but the rest of his team is evaporated. The Baron on the board here for G2. The attempt to turn from T1. Way too overeager. And G2 punish.
It was initiated by Faker, and as he falls, his team was quick to follow. G2 win out on the team fight, and it starts with them trying to find this collapse onto Hans. Patient play from him. He knows that he can't use his passive here. Faker's forced without flash to get dumped on by the top jungle duo. Mickey locks down Ona, but then we see Keria with a fantastic ultimate, thinking that the fight is turned, but then Caps' shockwave connects onto 3, and Guma just doesn't have the damage to win the fight for T1.
Owner, I think, tried to flash over it, try to get out of range, and then he could have gotten the reset. I don't know if that would have been enough, but the play doesn't end up working out, and now the gold lead, 5k here for G2.
And you just see how much healing G2 have in place as well. Zach, Rek'Sai, so good at just buffing themselves back up. So difficult for T1 to get through that front line. Now, as you say, a 5,000 gold lead, Dragon up in 50 seconds. Mickey caught out just a little bit with that blooming burst. He'll take the chunk. The Baron a possibility. And G2 have to be worried as well. If you go for the Dragon, are T1 just going to sneak a Baron?
And you already highlighted Vetty, but when that play happened, I thought Faker had stopwatch. Normally when he goes for plays like this, it really is with him in mind that they're going to collapse on me, got to be ready. Instead, Hansama uses the most overpowered ability in the game, which is walking. And as a result, that's an LCK classic, you know, the walk strategy ends up paying dividends there, particularly given the fact that Talia relies on getting you in that seismic shove. And it really is, in the last game we saw him recuperate. I feel like on the Talia, Faker hasn't been able to consistently reach the highs that he has on his Orianna, on his Azir, and we're seeing some of that here now in the upcoming fight. No flash for Guma, and no control for T1.
T1 are the ones with their backs against the wall. Guma feels like a very... Oh, hang on a second. Broken Blade.
Onto Faker once again. Faker flashes away. The stretching strike will pull him back, though, and Ona might be the first target as Yikes sinks his teeth into the fight. Faker now forced away. The Weavers will pull back. Broken Blade on this sack has not given T1 a moment to breathe. 8-0 for Yike and Baron on the cards.
The top jungle duo is just a diving menace. Domestically, questions were thrown out around what does this Rek'Sai even do? Gentlemen, it's 8-0 and 3. It's been involved in 11 of G2's 12 kills, and it is making it difficult for T1 to play the game.
It's the mid-jungle 2v2 of T1 that is struggling so much. We see here the bot side, and Zeus trying to maybe contest for a Dragon, but there's just no way
it's
that
really
it's ever going to work out.
It's really smart from G2 as well. Hansama and Yike making sure you get the Baron, and then the rest of the team making sure T1 can't just sneak away Soul Point from under your noses. I wonder if G2 will look for a reset off this Baron, or whether Yike's going to reset. Looks like Hansama's going to go mid, catch that wave that's pushing in, and with the push in the bottom lane, it becomes so much harder now for T1 to actually get back out in a position where they can contest the Drake.
I think what's crucial... Okay, a bit of a visual bug. I think what's crucial about what we're seeing as well, let's dive into the replay first. Broken Blade snuck his way into this fog of war. He spots them out with the Rek'Sai, and he gets the knockup, forces the flash out from Faker, and then the stretching strike into the ultimate combo. Means that T1 lose their jungle, lose their mid laner, and it secures the Baron and the Dragon. And again, like, I don't have time to explain.
Solar play on the backline as Mickey dives deep here. G2 may be overextending, but the flash forward from Yike for the double knockup. Slap their heads together. G2 have had enough of this game. Pop Blossom comes out. The Cap's still very healthy on the backline. Broken Blade still has his passive. Another stretching strike on Ona as Hansama begins to dance on him. Stunned up for the second. Faker able to kill off Hansama. G2 maybe a tiny bit greedy because Faker puts the Weaver's wall down. Broken Blade dashing in, locked up with the unraveled Earth. G2 could overstep here. Instead they retreat. They still have the Baron for a minute and a half.
Still get the inhib, still get the inhib turret. Still a lot of pressure here. Hunt's dying though. He's going to take a little bit of venom out of this. They still be able to pick themselves up. The second Drake, and we saw there again, Faker was pushing the top side. The TP, not in time. If he was there earlier, maybe could have made a difference. Not going to be the case, and we'll see what T1 can do on the cross map. But now, almost 10k gold behind. G2 looking to bring this to 1-1.
I mean, it's just the Broken Blade and Yike show, isn't it? They initiate onto Zeus of all people. He has Caps at his back, chipping away at his HP bar. They tried to punish them underneath the tower. Caps does get knocked up, but the Chain of Corruption follow-up is the only thing there. Mickey then with a dive, knows that he has the Callista to drag him out to safety. And then the flash, two-man knockup. Gumayushi, no flash to get away. They finally take him down for the first time in this series, I believe. And G2, while this may have been a bit of an overcommitment, it also sends a message to T1 that, hey, we can go toe-to-toe. Bit of a misplay there from Han Sama. But G2 making their mark here in game 2.
1,000 gold. The difference between these two teams. The head-to-head record, 15-10 for T1. G2 looking for their first win since 2020 in a best-of series. It's a long time ago. It was a best-of-1 win. It's apart from the Red Bull event, obviously, but you know, perhaps slightly less competitive.
I mean, it was fun. I had a great time watching it.
Zeus said he wants his vengeance for it. Now G2 to even out the series, pushing for mid, for top, Broken Blade in mid, answered by Ona. Cap's going to take a bit of a chunk here. Ona though, can you answer the power of Broken Blade Heartbreaker across into the blast cone? The chase from Yike. The blast cone and Broken Blade reads Ona like a book. Mickey comes in from the side, there's the stun. Broken Blade slaps him around the head and gets another kill on the board.
That might be the sign for G2 to actually look for the end. No Viego resets take so much threat out of this composition. Their lead is immense. Bot lane inhib is still standing until Leah is always a little bit scary to dive, but you gotta imagine they're gonna try and push for the end here.
Reaper's wall down, Caps isolated. G2 still pushing 4 strong through the mid lane. Seismic shove going wide. There is Faker flashing forward, and he's met with a spear through his heart. G2 find another how long Corona. 17 seconds, 5v3 now. G2 might just go double inhib base. Could be a little greedy, and they've often been in the LEC. We'll see if it continues on the international stage. Carrier trying to get in with that blossom. No flash for him. First Nexus tower down. Finds Cap. Call of the Forge God coming down as well, but the stopwatch will buy a second for the G2 mid laner. And Onu is just deleted by Hansumo on the back line. Guma next up. He will escape to the safety of the fountain, but that's where he'll watch his Nexus fall as G2 even out the series at 1-1.
A convincing win for G2. They'll need to keep their composure as they won out on the team fights. But a big win for G2 to show that they can go toe-to-toe with the Titans of T1.
Takeaway here is early game leads are bait. Do not trust them because
what is the worst early game team you can pick that scales well?
I mean, that's where you got to go towards.
Yeah,
you know, just go and on a more serious note, really the big thing here is Faker and Owner with this honestly really strong combo of the Talia as well as the Viego. It not working out, and the parallels between Caps in game 1 going for a couple of roams that didn't work out. Faker getting caught in bot and getting actually killed towards the top side set him on a deficit that he was never able to climb out of. They're gonna have to step it up if T1 wants to get the lead back in the series.
We'll see if T1 can strike back in the next game. Don't forget to log into lolaesports.com using your right ID to earn exclusive MSI 2024 drops. That's it from us for now. We're going to hand it over to the analyst desk to break down that game.
This is the best game I've seen out of Broken Blade and Yike, maybe ever.
True, 100%. Like, that was an incredible performance from these two. And the patience from the entirety of G2. They don't overextend, they don't overchase, they play through sides, they play around. This is what they were training to do.
Explain it to me. Why in game 1 can they not hold their nerve for a second And here they play out this game the way they're supposed to.
To be fair, it's been 26 days since they've been on the stage. Even T1 said that being in play-ins was great to just have that on-stage experience, so I'll give them a pass.
All right, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Now, we do have a bit of a reaction from one of our favorite rats, so let's take a look.
It's only one of those.
XDD?
Slow down a bit. Hansama, no flash. Nice movement, Hansama. No flash on Taker. Get it. Nice, BB, nice, BB. Just chill. Okay, just go in, Mickey pocket. You have Calisol, Caps, flash ult, goes hard somewhere here. Oh, shit! The shockwave! No! Get the bad! Don't chase! Maybe chase a little bit, not too much. Look for that. Is it a plus for him?
Cadril is all of the EU fans, I think. I can see that.
His neighbors are calling the cops.
Yeah. But hey, I think it's easily demonstrable kind of how G2 played out that game well, and we criticized them a lot in game 1. So what is it that T1 couldn't get going in this game, you think, Raz?
Oh god, I do think they were overforcing. They were literally doing what G2 was doing in game 1. So the point that you were making off of like, okay, G2 is actually playing incredibly patient off the fights. They would get flash on Faker, back away. And then Faker's overstepping a lot of times without his jungler. So in this case, actually this is a big plus to Yike because he skipped his camps for that play. And, you know, we didn't see anything from Owner. Owner wasn't there at the time. And then we're seeing multi-man, even the TP come through to play offsides. So the point that you wanted to make, actually, Dagda, they're playing offsides well.
Yeah, they're playing incredibly well, and a huge amount of that is, one, the fact that you have Mickey who's able to get off these roams,
yes.
Yike, as you say, skipping camps to get there, but also the fact that Broken Blade had the lead over Zeus. BB was such an important factor to getting control on sides, and then being able to show up to so many of these fights that could have gone astray, but the fact that you have, as you say, Faker taking that step too far, Caps being patient on setting up these plays, this was what G2 needed to do in game 1, and it was so great to see it in game number 2 to bring them back into this.
It was, but you know, you can't give T1 a lot, so I think we were all kind of thinking, okay, when is going to be the fight that possibly T1 see their angle? Maybe Keria sees his angle. Maybe it's Faker. Will that happen? But in the end, it was control from G2, and in the HyperX Reflex replay, we will also see kind of them shutting the door, and they did it a couple of times, right? They waited it out, and they made sure that they could push at the right time.
Yeah, they were absolutely fantastic here. Hansama with the sidestep was absolutely perfect, and then Yike getting this setup on towards Faker, who hadn't got the flash, the ult coming through from Mickey, and the immediate follow-up from BB. This was all picture perfect, working together. Everyone needs to be on the same page, and they just catch out everyone, but here comes the big play from Caps.
Yeah, it was a long fight. They were setting up Caps who's coming through, so I was actually surprised that Kara, even though seeing that Caps has ulti, walks in for a re-engage because he gets a sick 3-man ulti.
He does. Walking in, you can see it happening, you can see the play, but I can also understand from the side of T1, you have to make a play at that point, right? And we've said it, I think, in terms of the performance out of BB and Yike. And Yike, I mean, this is the youngest addition to this team, right, that has been growing, and he never really skipped a beat, even when he got to the international events before. G2 might have not been doing well, but he's still growing.
100%. I mean, even when he first came onto the international stage in his rookie year, we saw last year where he was able to get this poppy performance where he sidestep in every which direction. He was immediately a comfort here, and the fact now that he's taken his own personal pocket pick and bringing it out to the main stage, looking fantastic on it, and working with BB, this was the duo to watch.
Completely agree. From Yike's side, it seems like he's completely competent in both games, not wasting any time in this game, playing towards his lane. The last game, farming up a storm. For Broken Blade, for both of these games, I feel like mechanically he's just been on point.
And the fact that BB is competing with Zeus, one of the top laners on the international stage. You heard it on the cast as well. BB was for so long said was a disadvantage on the international stage. He was going to hold you back. He's been working so hard on his individual laning, and you get to see him now go up against Zeus and have a performance like this.
2 great games to watch, I think, overall, but we saw a lot of elements, some of the creativity coming out of G2 in the first game that wasn't enough because T1 could repel them. Now a more systematic game in T1. T1 maybe dropping the ball a couple of times, and T1 is deciding to go over to the blue side going into game 3.
And that's where you need to see this creativity change now for G2, because they had the blue side 2 games in a row. Now moving over to the red side, you're going to be showing your hand significantly more, and you have to try and respond way more to what T1
It only gets more difficult.
I agree. I think it's important for T1 to grab Callista on their side this time. They're a great Callista comp. It makes it simplified towards playing towards Drake. So I think that's the change we see from T1 this game.
All right, we'll see what the rest of the series spells out. G2 will be happy with one, but not happy enough. But it's T1 on the other side with so much experience on their side. I'm going to say it again. We're going to go over to a quick break. But when we come back, it's game 3 between G2 and T1.
Excuse me, would you mind taking a picture of us?
Oh, no problem.
Yes, problem.
You need Verizon. Trade in that old thing and get a new iPhone 15 Pro with tons of storage, so you can take all the pics. So many selfies.
A preposterous amount of panos!
That means panoramic. And as many portraits of me as your heart desires.
How about none?
None feels right.
Trade in any iPhone in any condition and get iPhone 15 Pro on us. Only on Verizon.
Red Bull gives you wings.
What the fuck? Wala na yung pusa. Asan na yung... The fuck? the fuck? Kaya ka naman ata eh. Momented din. Ako to nilagi. Nasabi ko yung lagi ko na sa ano.
What T1's plan is, can they get this bot lane off the ground and can they leverage Gumayuki more, especially if Faker is not having the best series?
Flash.
Okay, alrighty.
I missed you.
I missed you too.
I know you didn't. Richard! Richard! You're smart! I'm just waving. I'm not sticking my finger up. Sorry.
Whoa, okay, alrighty.
I missed you.
I missed you too.
I know you didn't. Richard! You're smart! I'm just waving. I'm not sticking my finger up. Sorry.
Whoa, okay, alrighty.
I missed you.
I missed you too.
I know you didn't. Richard! You're